Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you to today's session on learning and development principles for career success. And I have with me Olumide on the call, who is the facilitator, and he'll be taking us through. So, if you're joining us, please just mention your name, where you're joining from, and what career success means to you. So, we are actually addressing the pain points rather than just, cruising over. So, your name, where you're calling in from, and what career success means to you. So with me today, I have Olumide, who is the facilitator, and he'll be taking us through on the principles on how to, have a good career success. Can you all hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yes, I
Yes, I
can.
can.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so before we dive in, I'm just going to give an overview of what today's session is going to be all about. As we all know that we have normal food that we eat, our physical food, and they call it balanced diet, right? Where you get to eat carbohydrates, protein, fat, and oil, and different kind of food, and you mix it together, right, which makes us fresh and look healthy. Same thing for spiritual growth, right? We pray, we read our Bible, we meditate, just to grow spiritually and to keep hearing from God. That's the same principle that's also applicable when it comes to the mental development. You need to know the right courses you're supposed to take. You're supposed to know the right steps you're going to take for career success. So for me, career success means that I am able to grow in different areas as a career person. So I'm not just static, I am growing, I am evolving to be a better version of myself, to be the best of myself, and to also be the best I can be to the company that I'm working for. So now it's not only about me in the game, I'm also working for a company and I want the company to grow, right? So that's what career success means to me. And aside from, impacting my company that I'm working for, I also want to impact the community. So that's what career success means to me. So I'm going to check the chat. Okay, can you drop what career success means to you, Yinka? So we can read it out so we're all on the same page, and Olumide can address the pain points that we're having. So please, you can just drop what career success means to you on the chat. So drop what career success means to you on the chat so we can get started. Okay, so before we move, I would just like to read Olumide's profile. Olumide used to be a colleague at Seamless HR before. He went for greener pastures, So I'm just going to read this profile. Olumide Ojeleye, the executive director, leads the team of trainers, facilitators, and subject matter experts. A learning and development specialist, Olumide Ojeleye is a prolific, you hear the word, prolific brand and performance consultant, helping individuals and organizations maximize their brand identity, positioning, and its performance. He has a degree from the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Nigeria, where he studied industrial design, specializing in graphics. That's why we could see some effects that were showing us earlier on his background. He also bags other proficiency certification in leadership, management consulting, and non-profit management. Olumide is an alumnus of Daystar Leadership Academy, Lagos Business School, and a member of International Professional Managers Association. Can we welcome Olumide? Olumide, it's so nice to have you. Thanks for joining today's session.
Thank you, guys. Good day. This is Nigeria and it's evening here. So I would say good evening to everyone hearing me. I want to just get a feedback that everyone can hear me well.
Okay.
Can
Yes, I
everyone
can
hear
hear
me
you.
well?
Yes, I can hear you.
And am I clear enough?
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. I'm actually trying this background for the first time.
Oh,
So
wow.
I hope it's cool enough.
Yeah.
You know, I'm speaking on learning and development, and I thought that I should do a display of what I learned, what
All
I've
right.
recently learned. Yes. So, yeah, thank you very much, Funke, for having me. And like Funke said, we used to be colleagues, and yeah, that's how we met. And I can say that Funke is a very, very amazing person. Yeah. I remember that she used to keep me abreast of one show on I think it's a YouTube series. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, really? I don't think I can remember.
You know, she used to watch this series during a break time while she's eating and all that.
Yeah, I remember. Skinny Girl in Transit.
Yeah, okay. You know, and you know, but I mean, I watched career progression, ethics. Yes, that's the word I've been looking for. I know quite a little about our ethics, and I can say that Funke is one solid lady like that. Yeah, and and I'm not even trying. I'm not saying that to try to make her head swell, or I'm not even trying to patronize her, but it's what I know. And you know, people need to be appreciated and celebrated for who they are. That reminds me of something. I need to add something to my notes. As I said that, I remember something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, so that's fine. Let's get straight into what we have today. Speaking on, can someone help me with the topic?
Okay.
What exactly am I speaking about? I want people, I want the people in this on this call to give me a response. Anybody? What's my topic? Now I don't want you to say it, Funke. I want somebody
Oh,
else
okay.
who is listening. Yeah. I'm checking the comments. So Cristiana, I first thought it was Cristiano, and I was waiting for the Ronaldo, but it turns out it's Cristiana Alao. Welcome, Cristiana. Anyways, anybody, because of time, I have just about 37 more minutes or 38 more minutes to share what I have to share with you. Anybody, what's my topic today? You must have seen the flyer or something. Yeah, so or what attracted you to coming here? Funke, this is a frequent webinar, right?
Yeah, once in a month. We just
Okay, so
started.
did you just come? Okay, so did you just come because it's a once in a month seminar, or okay, learning and development for career success? Yes, that's what my topic is. And Funke already asked you to talk about what career success means to you. And I didn't see any of the comments, but my focus will be on learning and development. Let me attempt talking about career success. Now, career success will mean different things to different individual. For example, someone who works with let me see, Microsoft Nigeria, someone who works with Microsoft Nigeria, who earns quite well, would be thinking career success in the lines of working with maybe Microsoft South Africa or Microsoft US, right? Someone who works with a one-man business who earns, let's say, 80, 90K, 100K, will be thinking in the lines of career success, in the lines of getting another job that pays 150, 200. By the way, I've been running some recruitment, series of recruitment for some companies in the last 2 months. And, you know, when I interview people and they say, when I ask them salary expectation, I just know that these guys are looking for better salaries.
Right.
Right? So that's career success for some other people, right? For someone, career success would be earning more salaries, right? For some other people, career success would be working with multinationals. I remember that before I left where I used to work, where Funke and I were colleagues, one of the things I was considering before I left was to either leave to a multinational or to start my own company. And that was career success for me, right? I was tired of working with nationals, right? If there's anything like that. But I was tired of working with organizations within Nigeria. I was tired of working with non-organizations. I wanted to go multinational, right? Multinational. That was my dream. So at that time, if you were asking me what career success meant to me, career success would mean working with a multinational, either within the country or outside the country. In fact, what I think I wanted was in a kind of employment that would take me to different countries, but I would still be resident in Nigeria.
Wow.
Because I'm not a fan. I'm not so crazy about relocating and all that, but that's just me. I know I'm weird. Yeah. Okay, so that's career success. And that is meaning to say that career success for one person will differ from another person, one person's definition. In fact, for some other people, career success might not be more money. Some people are fine with what they earn. They meet all their needs. They are even able to cater for other people. But career success is just being able to move from one organization to the other. Now, one of my role models, one of my mentors actually, who was was doing fantastically well. He used to be the MD of CFAO. Yeah, MD of CFAO Nigeria. And all of a sudden, in fact, the people who were in that position before him, they were all expatriates from other countries. They were non-Nigerians. He was the first Nigerian to sit in that office. But recently, I just discovered that he's now the MD of CFAO Liberia. And I'm like, what? That's to tell you the kind of person he is. Career success for him is not exactly more money, even though he likes to make more money, but is the fact that he's able to move around at different points in time. This is somebody who, if he resumes work in a new organization today, is applying for another job elsewhere. The day he's resuming, he's already applying. So people have their own definitions for career success. However, career success will be almost impossible or very, very difficult without the place of L&D, learning and development. And I'm going to explain that very shortly. You see, nobody promotes anybody because they are doing their job.
True.
Nobody promotes anybody because they like their faces. Maybe there are a few exceptions. The other day I remember that I was speaking in an organization, and someone asked me a question, and then he said, what would you say to people helping you get a job? And this is what the person meant. So using long leg, long leg in Nigeria, right? The question was, would you advise people to use long leg to get a job? And then, so let me get your feedback. What do you think? Christiana Olayinka Oluwaseun Irorun. I love that name. All right, so please, guys, so let me see in the comments. What do you think? What do you think? What would be your answer to that? Is it good to use long leg to get a job? Any response? Anybody at all? Should I use long leg to get a job? I'm waiting for your answers. It depends on the situation, though. Okay, so what if I give you the permission to unmute yourself and explain what you mean? Can you do that? Would you like to do that, Olayinka? I'm really interested. Yes, so please, let's have you.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so for me, long leg depends on the situation. So there are situations where you just ask someone to help you get a job in their company. You just want to get a job because you want to get a job. But then if it's a role that you're interested in, something you really want to do, a company you really want to work with, you've put in the work, you know that if you apply for the job, they might pick you for interview. So using an additional long leg might just give you like a
Speed the process
recommendation
up.
kind of thing. Do you understand? So it
Yeah.
depends. It depends. So I feel if there's a recommendation from someone and they've even picked you as an applicant from your CVs and cover letters, then I think long leg is not bad. But if it's just for please help me and look for a job and you don't really just want to get a job, you don't really know what, then it's wrong because you just want to do the job and then leave to the other one. You won't really enjoy the job well. So
All right. Thank you. Any other person? Long leg.
Okay, I think I'll just
Long leg.
second.
Yeah.
I think I'll just second what Olayinka said. You know, there's a place of referrals where you can refer somebody to, oh, I think, oh, this person is good enough or a good fit. I've done that several times. Most of my friends have referred them to jobs and they're doing well. So I think if we can differentiate between referrals and long leg, the other side to long leg now. So one bit of long leg is referrals. Another side to long leg is you're now trying to buy your way through, like you're trying to like, oh, bribe people to get that job. If you know and you believe in your competence and your capacity to handle that job and someone referred you, I think you can just leave it over to the person when you trust the person to do a good job. But when you're not trying to buy people over, doing playing gimmicks or playing against their intelligence, I think that is like long leg, and which is really bad.
Thank you. And I'd love to hear more opinions, but for time. So solid responses actually, and that's similar to what I said. And I said, really, long leg in Nigeria is not referral, right? Like you guys have said, it's not referral. Long leg is simply long leg. I know somebody that knows somebody. They did not refer. They said this one you must give him job. That's long leg.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Oh, like,
That's
are you
long
trying
leg.
to say that maybe there are two slots and you're saying, okay, oh, out of these two slots, oh, this particular
Yes.
slot is already for taking for somebody that I know.
Yes, that's long
Oh,
leg.
okay, okay.
Long leg, you don't need interview. You don't need interview. Long leg means you already got the job.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like a business list. Whether you merit it or not, you're on that list.
Hmm.
you know, but my response is very similar to what you said. And what I said is I don't mind a long leg. If you want to use long privilege, leg. At the end of the day, when they use long leg and you don't have capacity to stay up, you will finally come down. It will be like jumping. There's a difference between jumping and climbing. When you jump, you come back down, but when you climb, you are sustained. Okay, so you need capacity, and that's where I'm going. Capacity. People are promoted, people get new jobs simply because of capacity. Someone reached out to me sometimes about a few weeks ago. In fact, it
Oh, is it just me? I think Olumide's
matches
network is
the
breaking.
repentance. There's a level of oh,
Oh, okay.
Christina says she can hear me.
Oh, so I think it's my network then. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So, I was saying that there is a level of competence that is needed, and they found a perfect match for that. So that's why people get new jobs. That's why people do all of that. But that's how people get career success, right? Career success, one key thing to leverage on for career success is learning and development. And I'm going to start. Everything I said before now is just preamble. I'm just about to start now. I want to start with the introduction now. But
Okay.
has it made sense so far? Anybody, please encourage me. Let me see the buzz. Give me the buzzes in the comments and in the chat box.
Oh,
Let
looks like
me know.
Christiana is clapping her hands.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's giving me thumbs up. Okay, so let's do this. Yes, okay. All right, so let's do this. Learning and development for career success. Actually, many times people talk about learning and development, but you see, I've been thinking and rethinking that that phrase should not be learning and development. It should be learning for development. I'll say that again. It's not learning and development. It is learning for development. You see, because development is absolutely impossible without learning. What makes for development is learning. The other thing, or another thing that makes development possible is research. So you would also hear things like R and D. And I also think it should be R for D. Okay, it should be L for D, R for D. In fact, research is one of the things you do to learn. So you can say that research is part of learning. So they're still related. So it is learning for development. Learning for development. There are two types of development that are possible. Number one is personal development. Number two is organizational development. I'll say it again. Number one is personal development, and number two is organizational development. And I'm going to explain how this pans out, or the relationship between both. When you learn, right, you are developing yourself, you are improving yourself, you are promoting yourself, you are pruning yourself, you are building yourself, right? You are getting yourself better. That is what happens when you learn. And that's very good, because what now happens is that through learning, you increase your capacity exceptionally well, especially if you do your learning very well. Okay, so you improve your competence, you improve your capacity, you improve your ability to deliver. Okay, that is one key reason you learn. When you learn, you develop yourself. Okay, there are different levels of mastering. So let me introduce very quickly. It's one of the things that I say. I mean, many years ago, I used to have this thing that I call 21 things you need to know or do before you are 21. And the very first thing in that on that list is to know yourself. Know yourself. And in knowing yourself, there are like 4 or 5 different layers. Number one is discover yourself. Number two is be yourself. Number three is act yourself. Number four is master yourself. And number five is reproduce yourself. Discover yourself, be yourself, act yourself, master yourself, reproduce yourself. That fourth level is a very powerful level. It's called the level of mastery. Learning helps you achieve mastery. Okay, learning helps you achieve mastery. If you have not come to a place of personal mastery, you can never be successful in your career to the degree that you have the potential. I'll say that again. If you have not come to that level of self mastery, you cannot be as successful as you can be, as the potential that you carry. Okay, so learning is very important for personal development. So learning for development will be first on the level of learning for personal development. When you develop yourself, you develop your competence. And there are about 4 other levels of competence too. There is unconscious incompetence, there is conscious incompetence, there is conscious competence, then there is unconscious competence. These are 4 levels of competencies. Okay, I don't even have time to go into all of that. Um, but those are like 4 different levels, okay, of competence. What that means is that you are able to deliver value at a level that is unusual and uncommon. But if you work for an organization, for example, your competence is useless if that competence does not culminate into development for your organization. That is why learning must, first of all, be for personal development, and secondly, and very, very also importantly, organizational development. If your development does not impact on the organization where you work, that development is a waste. It's a useless development. If you're still feeling me, let me get your comment. Put in fire in the chat box. Let me see. Let me know that we're still very much together. Anybody? Anybody? Is this helping at all? Let me get that feedback very, very quickly. Anybody? Anybody? Okay. This fire must be a really deep fire because it's a black fire. I'm just joking. Anyway, so learning for personal development and learning for organizational development. Okay. So the essence of learning, like I said, the way I started, is that the essence of learning is for development. Okay. So learn for personal development, learn for organization development. I want to try to tidy this up in about 20 minutes, and I'll go straight into why you need learning and development. So there are three other parts in this conversation that I'm going to get into. Number one would be why you need learning and development. Number two would be how to choose areas to develop, right? And number three would be how to learn. Okay, how to learn. How exactly do you learn? Why is it that people don't learn well? I'm going to get into that very shortly. So let's go straight into it. Why should you learn? I mean, why learning and development? Why learning for development? Why L for D? Number one is the fact that every one of us is human. Every one of us. So what that simply means is that in our carnal vessels is imperfection. In our bodies lie, inadequacies. Many times we fall short of expectations. We don't do things up to, the required standards. Okay. You expect to deliver 10, but you're delivering 3, you're delivering 2, you're delivering 5. Right. As a matter of fact, one of the focus of my company this year is to help organizations with their poorly performing staff. We want to deliberately and intentionally use the power of learning to move people from where they are to where they can be. Okay, so that is learning for development, because we are all humans. Why do you think that people read and don't understand? Why do you think? I mean, there's something called the imposter syndrome. I'm sure that you must have heard that. Yeah, the imposter syndrome. Why do people have the imposter syndrome? I mean, and this is one of the ways I help people to get out of the imposter syndrome. And it is the fact that before you got that job, you were interviewed. Those who interviewed you were not fools. They're smart people, intelligent people, brilliant people. But you scaled through that interview process, right? And afterwards, you got the job. That means that you have the qualities or the character or the competence that is needed for that role. But hey, you see, you got into that role, but what happened? Your humanity began to show. The fact that you are human, the fact that your body or your carnal vessel is that word came now and it just flew away again. You are you have propensity to inadequacies, right? That's what happens. Okay. Sorry, if you just give me a moment, I need to just open up. Please just give me about 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you, Christiana. Oh, fantastic, Kinka. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this session, and I hope you guys are actually noting things down, because I have my paper and pen here, and I think I'm just feeling thoughts. Okay, welcome back. welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. So
So,
power was just seized, and I needed to pull down. This is Nigeria.
I tell you.
So, but am I still very clear?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. So the humanity begins to show itself, right? And then your body begin to say, "Hey, guy, you're not in heaven. This is hard." Okay. You thought you had it all figured out. Your employers, your recruiters thought you had it all figured out. But hey, there's actually something wrong with you. It's called humanity, right? And for as long as we are still humans, we will need to learn. In fact, someone said that the day you stop learning, you stop growing. Okay, I think I was the one that said it actually. The day you
Really?
stop learning, you stop growing. And the day you stop growing, you start dying. So, what ensures life is growth. And what ensures growth for individuals is learning. Of course, you need to eat and all of that, but there are many walking deads. They are alive in terms of the physical structure, but there is nothing within them to show for that, right? So all of us are humans. That's the number one reason you need L for D. Number two is that things change perpetually. Things change perpetually. I mean, the dynamics of your business, the dynamics of your work will always change every now and then, right? The way they do things now is not they do things before now. I do a lot of media, right? And it will interest you that the way media is done 5, 7 years ago, it's not the way it's done right now. Things have changed. And for you to be able to catch up with new trends, for you to be able to catch up with the fast paced world. And that's why it's called fast paced, because things are changing fast, things are changing rapidly, things are changing very quickly. Okay, so you've got to learn, you've got to learn what's the update on what I do right now. What's the update? What's happening that I don't know? And there are things that you don't know. There are things that you don't know. Even as a learning and development expert, I'm thinking about a course to go on, just to get myself acquainted with what's happening globally, right? I've been running a program. I mean, since this year started, I've been on rigorous trainings. Even as a learning and development expert, I'm doing trainings and all of that, right? I'm doing a 3 month training that's going to end in March. I just finished one with West Washington University. I'm doing, because things are changing. And you see, as I attend these programs, these courses, and these classes, I see how people facilitate. I don't just listen to the content that training me, that are teaching me. I see how facilitation is done, and I've practiced a few of them here. I see how people do things. I see how people organize online trainings, right? Zoom trainings. I see the difference between the Nigerian touch and the American touch, right? You know, things change from time to time. Perpetually things change. And because things change, we need to learn. We need to get things better. So, what field do you currently operate in? You've got to research, you've got to learn. You can start with Google. Okay, what's the new thing about product management? What's the new thing about learning and development? What's the new thing about accounting? Right? You've just got to learn. That's the second reason for L&D. Wahoo. I have about I think 15 more minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see how this goes. Number three is that your competition is global.
Mm. That's the
Oh, I love this. Your competition is global. You know, I've often said this for years that if you perform in an environment and they clap for you, you need to check that clap because that clap could be a deception and it could be your pitfall. This is what that means. Let's assume that I make puff puff, or let's say buns, right? And then I make buns, and then I take it to a gigi market, for example, or what other popular market do we have? Let's say Shangisha market. I mean, local markets here. And then I take it to them, and it looks good and it looks different from what they have. Or let's say when you go market, yeah,
eco
when you go
market.
market, eco market, thank you, eco market. And then they say, who is this guy wearing suit and tie, selling puff puff or buns or donuts? There's going to be a level of applaud. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Please, I need a comment to roll in. Please tell me, would there be comment? I mean, would there be some level of applaud? Guys, please give it to me. Let me get your feedback. Would there be? Will they say this is good? Yes, because selling puff puff on suits, man, like how fun now, you know. Yes. Okay, but thank you guys. Thank you guys. You can keep it coming. But if after the day, let's assume that you sold 50 puff puff, and then you get back home and then you call your family member and say, My, do you know what happened? By the time I got there, everybody just started clapping for me. It was really great. I've never seen that in my life. Everybody was just happy and then they were excited and feel that who is this corporate puff puff seller? And then everybody in your family will rejoice with you and say, Oh, you are doing well. Hey, you're not doing well, you. Hmm. You're not even halfway doing well. You see, because the same way you are using your suit and tie to sell puff puff, somebody is selling puff puff with suit and tie in his house. All it does is it just bakes them and then puts them online and people order. That's it. That's it. You know, I have one of my friends is a what's the name? I'm trying to remember the name. I'm looking for a tush name for it, but it's a shoemaker. That's just it. He's a shoemaker. One of my secondary school mates, and about 2000 and let's say about 4 or 5 years ago, I think it was 2016. And then I invited him to speak at one of my conferences, and they were sharing with me and with the whole group how that he started exporting his shoes, his footwears rather, out of Nigeria into the US. And people make shoes, but how many people export their shoes? He has done that to the point that he has sold to PDD's son. Can you imagine selling your shoe to Do you know PDD, Puff Daddy? Do you guys know PDD? Or am I old? I mean, I don't have gray hairs here, but do you guys know Puff Daddy?
Yes, I do.
Do you guys know Puff Daddy? You do. Okay, yeah. You know, I mean, I felt that was a big deal for Puff Daddy's son to order for your footwear all the way from the US. And this guy is in Ibadan. He's not even in Lagos. So my point is that your competition is global. You can perform at the level in the organization where you belong, and then everybody says, man, that's a solid guy. And I don't know if you are a Christian or a Muslim here. One of the places to be careful of when people applaud you is church or mosque. Is deception. You will come out and mess up. Yes, they will clap for you. Hey, is deception. They are just encouraging you, not knowing that it's an encouragement that will lead to pitfall. Do you get? Right? So your competition is global. So even if you're doing well in that organization where you belong, you want to know, wait, uh, my mates are working, my age mates are working in Microsoft in the US. My mates are working with Google in the UK. My mates are working with FedEx in South Africa. How do they do what they do? And then you begin to learn because you don't know the day that that skill or that ability is going to be needed, right? I don't have enough time to give you examples, and I have a number of examples, enormous examples. But let me just continue because of time, right? Number three is that the challenges also change dynamics, right? So let's assume that I work in a production factory where they produce AC units. And you see, in the course of producing the AC units, right, um, we have always known that if we produce this, then we'll produce this, then we'll produce this, then we'll produce this, then we'll produce the LCD. One day, you may think that that's the process, right? You may think that that's the protocol, but something along the line will just fail. And then you ask yourself, is it not the same thing you have been doing? And you see in Africa, they'll say it's a devil. No, it's not devil. They'll just demonize the whole thing. It's not devil. Is the fact that the dynamics of the operations of what you're doing has changed. You therefore need to learn something different, something new about what you're doing. All right, so the changes in dynamics. Number next is that you also want to be promoted. Nobody promotes you for doing the job that you were hired for. I said it. Right? You're promoted because you have increased capacity. Let me explain this to you. In fact, there are some of you maybe listening or on this call or who will listen later, whose bosses would have been promoted, but were never promoted because there is nobody else to take their place after they had been promoted. I have a mentor like that. Many years ago, it was in banking and finance. No. It was in insurance. And this guy is a superstar, top star, fantastic guy. He was working in Ibadan, and from Ibadan, they promoted him to a managerial position, and he had to move to Lagos. But after a few months, he had to go back to Ibadan because the people that he left behind in Ibadan, they weren't up to task. There was nobody to fill his shoes well. Even at the point where they had tried to get more than one person to fill his shoes, they couldn't. Why? People under him didn't grow their potential. They didn't grow to the higher level where they could be able to take up that role that he was leaving. Are you getting what I'm saying this evening? Okay, so you want to be promoted without learning something new, without learning to get better. Promotion is difficult. Let me go a little faster. Also, you need to become very competitive. And I love this so much. Think about it. If you work in X company and then you're paid, let's say you're paid ₦1 million per month. I hope you know there are organizations who pay that. And maybe even some people here earn that amount. Yeah. So imagine that you work in X organization and you're paid ₦1 million in a month, and then somebody heard about you and they asked for you to come and work with them, and then they promised to pay you 1.5. And then because company X where you work had that company Y wanted to get you, they say, how much are they going to pay you? You say 1.5. They say, we'll match it. That's competition. Now, that happens to only people who are competitive. You must have something that other people do not have to be in that position. I love that so much. Imagine that three companies, three organizations are fighting over you. Come on, guys, right? I had something close to that like 2 or 3 weeks ago, where two organizations, in fact, one of them, a financial institution, one of them called me. I'd interviewed with them before, but for some reasons I didn't join them. But one of them, the HR called me and said, the MD specifically asked us to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, really? It's so good a place to be because at the time where I interviewed with them, I'd crossed the different stages to the point where I spoke with the MD, right? And maybe for whatever reason, she felt, this guy's got some stuff, and he's that guy that I want. And at that point, it was now on my own terms. I wasn't ready to get a job, but I wanted to do shakara for them, right? So they said, when would you be available for a chat? I said, okay, let's consider this day. Okay, no, I didn't reply their mail. And then I got a call afterwards. And when they called me, I picked and then I spoke with the lady. Okay, this and that. And then she said, when will you be available? I chose a time. She said, oh, no, sorry. It's between X time and X time. And I said, okay, let's do this time. And she said, sorry, somebody else has picked that slot. And I was like, okay, tell me all the slots you have and I'll see which one is convenient for me. That was very sweet a place to be. Right? And then she was like, no, it's the MD. And I said, you guys should just forget. I'm not interested. You guys should just leave me. Right? You want to be competitive, right? You want to be the in-demand guy that everybody wants. And that's where you get the word poaching, right? Nobody poaches an average staff. Nobody poaches somebody who is merely trying his best to be good. People poach only superstars. And for you to be a superstar, you need to inculcate a learning and development mindset, a learning and development routine, a learning and development lifestyle. Okay? Learning for development, if you understand me. All right, so you want to be competitive. I wish I had some more time to talk about this a little more, but you want to be competitive, okay? Then again, you want to be promoted. Also, you want your brain to just be developed generally, right? And that's one of the things that happen with people who learn. When you learn constantly, it develops your brain. Okay, and then the final one there is you want to also attract high net worth individuals. This is it. I learned from Olakune showing us that conventional marketing, a conventional salesman standard is somebody who has the ability to knock on any doors and to enter those doors. Am I correct? Right? You are a fantastic salesperson when you say, no, where you want to go there, I will go and knock and they will open. It's a level, really. But there is a higher level where instead of having to go and knock, you already have access. When you have a learning for development lifestyle, you easily attract high net worth individuals. You may not be as rich as they are, but when they see intelligent people, when they see intellectual people, they are naturally attracted. It's one of the laws of attraction. Just be very, very intellectual, right? It's like what do people do today? That word. Okay, maybe I'm not supposed to use that word. That's why I'm not remembering. Okay. You see, it's like doing love potion to a rich person. Yeah, this guy is solid. And then they want to be attracted to you. So how do you choose areas of growth? How do you choose areas to develop yourselves on or yourself on? See, because we're talking about learning for development. So now I want to develop. How do I even know what to develop? And there are different ways to know that. The very simple things, and I've come to discover that I really don't teach any. I hardly teach new things. I'm ambiguous things, maybe new things, but I hardly teach ambiguous things. I just teach little things, simple things, very simple things. Because if we are able to pay attention to very simple things, then we'll be fine. Okay. So how do you find areas where you need to develop? Number one, feedback. When you get constant feedback from your line manager, feedback from your colleagues, feedback from your bosses, your superiors, and all of that, you will be able to narrow down into areas where you need to develop. I'll tell you, um, I love feedback a lot. So in that organization where Funke and I used to work, where we used to be colleagues, after one of the projects, where I love that, and after our projects, especially when I work with external facilitators, I'll ask them to rate me. You know, I'll ask them to score me based on my performance, because I was working with very senior guys, like globally senior guys, someone who used to be head of Dangote group. It was, I mean, well, maybe not group, it was head of Dangote, either HR or learning and development, something like that. Another one who used to work with, who is a consultant for the African Development Bank. I mean, very top people, okay? And then I was saying, please, I mean, we worked for some weeks. I like for you, some months actually. I like for you to rate me. I like to get feedback. And then he said to me, you know your onions, you're a fantastic guy, you are good, you're this, but there's one area I think you should work on, and it is being firm, right, in terms of discipline. And then he began to tell me how that you might not naturally be angry, but because of the results you want to get, you have to be professionally angry. Hey, I learned that one. And it was like, you're good with what you do, you manage the team well, you're fantastic, but hey, you need to learn how to be professionally angry. If I did not ask for that feedback, I would have missed out on an opportunity for growth. I would. Okay, so feedback. Through feedback, you get, you get to know the areas that you should develop on. Okay. Number two is through assessments. There are assessments, online assessments that you can take that would help you see areas where you are lagging. Okay. Try assessment around emotional intelligence. Try assessment around, please excuse me. Try assessment around, please just a minute. Try assessment around, I was saying, sorry about the distraction. Try assessment around emotional intelligence. Try assessment around leadership, your leadership capacity. Look for assessment around communication. Look for assessments you can do around presentation. These are areas that you can be able to find where you have deficits, okay? And then you can design the kind of training that you should do. Okay, no, not that. You can design, or you can determine the areas where you need to develop. Without this assessment or feedback, many times your diagnosis can be wrong. And of course, when your diagnosis is wrong, what's going to happen?
You get the
Your
wrong.
prescription is going to be wrong. Yes, and when your prescription is wrong, you can be sure that rather than solving the problem, you would probably be causing another damage. So you want to get your diagnosis right. Don't assume your areas of deficiencies, okay? Get feedback, all right? Do assessment. Ask people around you, okay? You can also engage, that's the third one now, look for accountability partners, right? And I know that if Funke would do well as an accountability partner. An accountability partner is somebody who is unequivocal with truths. Somebody who will not whitewash things. They wouldn't say that you're doing well when you are not doing well. There are people who will tell you what it is straight on. They are not afraid to tell you the truth. You need such people. And there are different ways to go about it. Let me spare you that because of time, but you want to get accountability partners, okay? And then another way to see areas where you can grow is through performance reviews. So if you work in a structured environment, one of the things that they do from time to time is evaluation of your performance. So you hear things like monthly performance review, annual performance review, and all of that. Okay, through those reviews are also some sort of feedback. In fact, there are corporate feedback, or they are formal feedback. That's the word. They are formal feedback based on the perceived assumption of your capacity, of the people who are over you, or depending on the system of that review. Okay, so in some organizations, they get your supervisor to review you, they get your colleagues to review you, and then they also get your subordinates to review you. In some organizations, it's just top down, it's just your superiors that review you. Okay, but I believe that for an holistic approach and for a very effective methodology, it's important to approach reviews all round, from top to across and then downwards. Okay, so through performance reviews, you can also find areas where you need to improve. And of course, it therefore means that you are not going to fight the feedback that you get. So someone says that you're not doing something well like you ought to. You're not going to say, no, no, it's not correct. No, they lied against. That will be counterproductive. Okay. Another wrong reaction to feedback is, that's the way I am. Oh, that's the way I am. Nobody is like somehow. you know, Nobody is like somehow, right? In psychology, right? When every individual, when we go to this earth, there is a state, there's a word that is used to explain every individual on earth. It is called tabula rasa. And that word simply means that we all came in a clean slate. You see, there's this in psychology and neuroscience, there is this fight against nurture and nature. Nurture being the things that you naturally came with, nurture being the things that you acquired over time, nature meaning the things that you naturally came with. Okay, there is always that battle. But in my research and observation, a very large percentage of our responses, our actions, our inactions, our reactions is based on nurture. All right. So rather than respond to feedback and all these reviews and all that and say, that's the way I am. You see, this, if you're writing anything down, and I think you need to write this down, greet every knowledge with curiosity. I'll say that again. When you are faced with new knowledge or contrary opinions, greet such with what? Curiosity. Rather than say that you are wrong because you do not agree, say okay and look into it. Okay, if somebody comes to me today and says that the way to wear a clothes is to wear it inside out, that is, what we wear outside is what should be inside, I would not say you're stupid. I wouldn't say you're wrong. I would say, okay, right? And then I want to go research about it. How true is this statement? Of course, it doesn't mean when anybody says any bullshit around you, and you understand what I mean by bullshit. It doesn't mean when anybody says anything that is not around you, you don't refute it or you don't refuse it. You see, there are certain things that you can outrightly refute. It's okay. But on a general landslide, have an open mind, okay? Have an open mindset. When you are faced with new knowledge, new opinion, opposing perspective, greet such with curiosity. Okay, all right. So that is that on how you can choose. I want to round up now because I'm supposed to be like I'm about 10 minutes outside of my time. So how exactly do you learn? How exactly do you learn? For those who joined a bit late, don't forget that I'm speaking on learning and development for career success. And then I started by saying that there is really nothing like learning and development. It is learning for development because the aim of learning is for development. Learning is useless if it does not culminate into development. Okay, same thing for research. All right. And then I explained a few thoughts as my introduction. And then I gave a few reasons you should consider learning for development. And then I also went into talking about how to discover areas where you need to learn and areas where you need to grow. And then now I want to close by saying a few things around how to learn, how to grow. This is really interesting, right? Um, every learning intervention must begin with identifying a need. That's why the previous section was very important. Getting your areas of growth, the areas where you need to learn. Okay, if you do not know the areas you need to alter, then it will be disastrous. You will either be beating about the bush, and which is going to be wasting, exerting your energy fruitlessly. Okay, you either be beating around the bush or wasting resources or just doing nothing. Okay, so number one, it begins with designing a need. You see, in L&D, there is what we call need gap analysis or learning need assessment. Okay, so you need to do a personal learning gap analysis, right? You want to do an analysis of the gaps that you have, professional gaps, right? Career gaps, family gaps, financial gaps, and that's very important. Okay, and once you discover that, then number two is to now design a system of learning. So, number one, determine the areas of need. Number two, design a system of learning. Number three is then to design of a structure for a learning lifestyle. That's deep, and that's not even in what I plan to say. This is just coming to me now. All right. One is you identify the need. Number two is you develop your learning system. Right. Number three is you now develop a learning culture. So what does it mean to design a learning system? How exactly do you learn? That's the question. If you were in if you were in college, you would know that there are certain people who always go to night class. If they don't go to night class, they will not pass. And by the reason of that, through association, emulation, and jealousy, some people feel intimidated to the point where they also begin to go to night class, and they go to night class every time and they learn nothing. So serious and painful. They stay awake all night without learning anything. In fact, I heard about someone who said that he kept going to night class, he wasn't learning anything until one day he just said to himself, whoa, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't pay me. Let me just give up on it and leave those who know how to do it well. Okay, that is what it means to develop a learning style, to design your own learning system. How do you learn? Do you need to read a book? Okay, and these are ways to learn. I'm already mentioning them. Do you need to read a book? Do you need to attend a course? In attending a course, should it be online or on site? Some people are not very okay with learning online. Some people have to be there physically, right? Even though I am an e-learning expert, right? There are certain trainings that I want to do that I want to be there physically. Do you know why? And the reason is because I'm a practical person. I am an hands-on person. If you tell me all the theories, I may manage to grasp a few things, but if I try with my hands and I see how it works, it can never leave me. Never. It's impossible, right? Because I am kinesthetic. Oh, I don't have time to get into that. I would have spoken about auditory, people who are auditory, people who are visual, people who are auditory visual, right? Audio visual, people who are kinesthetic, right? A couple of things. Well, I don't know if we'll have the opportunity to talk about that some other time, but you've got to learn your own style. Okay, in the place where I cannot be there physically, I enjoy videos. That is why I do a lot of YouTube. I love to do YouTube. Okay, should you watch a video, should it be an audio? My preference for learning is one, video, two, audio, three, reading. Of course, there are certain times that I like to read, especially if it's a personal development book. All right, there I'm able to mark and all that and all that. I have audiobooks I've never listened to, but if they were videos, I would have watched them since. Okay, um, so that let me add this very quickly. There are what I call embellishments for learning, and this is very interesting. It's one of the things that I'm going to include in my curriculum on creativity, embellishment for creativity, and this speaks to atmospheres, right? Atmospheres or conditioning, mind conditioning. So this is it. One of the things that unleashes my own personal creativity and learning is comedy, entertainment generally, and I know that it's because of the nature of some of my, excuse me, some of my inclinations. Okay, I am a creative person. I am a little bit technical, but I am a very creative person. So when I watch entertainment materials, videos, and all that, I enjoy it. It opens me up. It shows me new worldviews. And then for comedy, it excites me and creates an open space for learning. So embellishments for creativity. And then the third one that I mentioned. Okay, so still under that system, your own system of learning. Should you read a book? Should you go for a course and all that? Another one is exposure. It's part of the systems or styles of learning. Exposure. Hmm. Exposure can do for you what no training can do for you. I won't dig deep because of time. Hmm. I won't. So, and then the final one is a structure, a learning lifestyle, designing a system that ensures that you keep learning. Okay, it's one of the things that I love to do for organizations. How do we create a learning culture? So that's what this is all about. How do I make sure that I have a learning culture? Okay, some of the things, or one of the things you can do is you can have some stickers around your house that reminds you that you have not learned anything. In fact, there's this I learned from one of the reports I read from LinkedIn. It's one of the L&D reports from LinkedIn. There's this company, they do what they call stop everything and learn, right? In their toilets, for example, in their bathrooms and their washrooms, they have stickers that says stop everything and learn. So that reminds you that I haven't learned today. Okay. So that's how to create a culture. So I mean, that's one of the things you can do to create cultures of learning. So you want to create a culture. One of the things you can do is to get an accountability partner. I know that I've mentioned this, but you can also use an accountability partner to create a structure of learning or a culture of learning. And this is one of the things one of my proteges did with me many years ago, and he said, "Sir, I want to learn XYZ, and I've divided it into 52 lessons to cover 52 weeks of the year. Every week, I'm going to learn this." And he said to me, "If I don't learn it, I'm going to give you X amount." I'm going to pay you, maybe he said 1,000 naira or 500 naira or whatever he said. And, that was him creating a culture of learning for that purpose. You see, because human beings are driven by two things. Two things. If you are still with me, I want you to put in the chat box, say two things. Two things. Number one is reward. Number two is regret. Reward and regret. Okay, so instead of regret, you can say punishment, rewards and punishment. When you reward yourself for something, okay, no. Yes. So punishment and reward. So this guy was practicing the punishment. So when I fail to do this in a week, I am going to give you X amount. And then I said to him, and then I introduced the reward to him, the reward part to him. And I said, each week you do this, I'm going to give you X amount of money. That was a reward to encourage him to do what he wanted to do. All right. So when you have a mindset that if I don't do this thing, there's a penalty, you most likely will do it. Or if I say that if you do it, I'm going to give you this, that's a reward. You're also most likely going to do it. But if it's just do it because it's good for you, like it's good. For example, it's good to go to the gym. Somebody like me should go to the gym. I went to the gym last week Saturday. I still feel pains. I ran away. But hey, I know that it's good for me, but no reward, no punishment. Someone still said to me sometimes last week, and they said that, have you been going to the gym because you look beautiful? And I'm like, me that I'm still complaining. But if there was for example, if somebody says every week, if you go to the gym twice in a week, I'm going to give you 100,000 naira. I will go 7 times in a week because there's a reward. Or if somebody says, if you don't go to the gym, for every week that you fail to go to the gym, you will not eat for 2 days. What's happening here? I will go, especially if somebody that can stab me, maybe like my wife, right? I mean, that may not be an ideal punishment for me because, it's not like I eat that much, but when I eat, okay? But the emphasis is on reward and punishment, reward and punishment. I think that I should stop there. If you remember, for those who started with me, there's something I said that came to my mind that I quickly jotted down. And let me just mention it because right now I'm about 40 minutes outside of my time. Am I correct?
Sure. No, like 20 minutes thereabouts.
Like 20 minutes. Okay. Oh, I'm still a good boy. Yeah.
So we'll just need like 5 extra minutes because we still have questions.
Okay, so 5 extra minutes. Thank you. 5 extra minutes. So it just came to me that one of the things that people don't do well in their places of work is that they do not have the adequate skills to showcase what they are doing. And I thought that could be a plus to this class, right? So there's a Yoruba proverb that says that the chicken is sweating, but the feathers are covering it. So nobody knows whether the chicken is sweating or not. Right? So it's possible to be doing so much and yet not be rewarded. But it's only a contribution that is recognized that can be rewarded. So how do you get yourself to be recognized in that organization where you are? You've got to be sharing what you're learning. You've got to be putting to work what you're learning. And very importantly is that you've got to communicate the impact that you're making. So I want to do my best to be a good boy. But I remember that this same thing I've addressed in one of my courses So I have an online course. I have two online courses that can be available to you all for free. Let me type the website switchvilleafrica.com slash courses. I want to believe that this is correct. Um,
If it
if
is
this
not
is not
correct,
correct, just
I'll
say
slide.
again.
I said if it's not correct, I will so slide into your DM to get the actual
So
one.
if it's not correct, just do switchvilleafrica.com. Okay, when you
Don't
get
worry, I can
there,
always
just
get the link also if it's not correct.
yeah.
Get
But
the
I think it's correct. But if it's not, just go to switchvilleafrica.com. From switchvilleafrica.com, it takes you to the landing page. Just go to the courses page, click on the courses. There are two courses there. One is growth or bloat, and that is a very fantastic course. I think everybody should take it. But the other one is how to work remotely and effectively. Now, one of the things that I talked about is how to position yourself such that your contributions are recognized and acknowledged and rewarded. Recognized, acknowledged, rewarded. You know, some people's efforts are recognized, but they are not acknowledged. And some are recognized, acknowledged, but not rewarded. So, how do you move from obscurity to acknowledgement? To recognition, acknowledgement, and reward? Get on that course, and it's available to you for free. Okay, and then let me also plead with you to put comments in that course. Let me know how well it's helping you, how well you enjoy it. That will be it for tonight or this evening. I believe that I've been able to share a couple of thoughts with you all that will make a big difference in your endeavor. So let me know if I've been able to help you at all. Put it in the chat box. Say yes, yes, yes. Let me feel the fire. So that I'll know that if it wasn't helpful, I'll just say, we just wasted some 1.5 hours. Well, God help us not to waste it again. But let me know. Let me know. Let me see. So I see one yes. Let me get like 5 yeses because I know there are more than 5 of us here, or at least 3. So that, okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm seeing fire. Yes, yes, yes. Fire, 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 fire. Thank you. That's encouraging. Anyone more? Anyone more?
Okay, I think Christina is clapping.
Anyone more? Oh, Christiana is clapping. Thank you. Thank you. So that will be it from here. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Olumide. That was mind blowing. I was just writing and writing. I think I wrote almost 1.5 pages. You know, really, really exciting moment for me. And I'm just going to just add something to what you said, and that has to do with how you can inculcate a structure for a learning lifestyle, right? So I think I could remember sometimes last year I read a book, and the name of the book is how can I remember? I can't remember the name of the book now though, but then it talked about you can actually pair activities together. So one thing I know I do every day is that I pray in the morning. And I know that once I pray in the morning and my leg is on the floor, my day has started, and then till I go back to the bed, right? So what I do is that immediately after I pray, I pick a book and then I read. If I'm not reading a book, I listen to a message or I do something to grow that particular day. And if you notice, when I read your book, the feedback I was always giving is always in the morning, because that's after I pray, I read my book or I listen to something that would actually, make an impact in my life for that day. So you can also do that too. Put stickers in your room. If I do this every day, and you can also add, oh, let me do this after this, so that you can actually get a positive reward. Thank you so much, Olumide. It was nice, having you today. We are going to go to the Q&A
Thank you.
session. Um,
So there's still Q&A.
yeah, there are like 3 questions right
Okay.
here, so I'm just going to quickly check. Give me a few minutes. Okay, the first question is, how do I create a personal L&D for success? I'm sure you've talked about that in today's session already, so they should go and listen to it again. We would upload it on YouTube so they can always have access to it. I think you already made justice to that. Then the other question is, how can you manage, I think, a career when you feel you're not moving? Like you feel like you're static and you want to make a move but you're not moving. How can you make that big move?
Okay, so I want to move, but I'm not able to move.
Exactly.
There's this principle of copy and paste,
Okay.
right? There is absolutely nothing that is absolutely new on the earth,
Hmm.
meaning that what you want to do has most likely been done by somebody else. Let me break that down. There used to be somebody like you who wanted to move forward but could not move forward, but eventually moved forward. So you want to look for that person, and then you want to find out what did that person do.
Yeah.
And someone said that the stories of great people are usually in their stories. So you may have to go and look for books that speaks about your position. Okay, you may look you and you see you can start with Google. Somebody said there are two big G's, God and Google. God and Google. You don't want to joke with God, you don't want to joke with Google. Google, start by Googling how to move from where you are to where you want to be, right? Look for position papers, look for books, look for articles, look for blogs, okay? Look for vlogs, look for YouTube videos, look for websites that have spoken about what you're, and a good place is Quora. Quora is a very good place. Quora. Quora is a fantastic place. I know them. Some other people use what's this other called? Nairaland. Okay, as useless as these things are, they are also useful. Okay, it's just like cutlass. That same cutlass, a thief will use it to hurt people, right? That same cutlass, a butcher will use it to kill meat for you and I. Okay, so you can use Nairaland, you can use Quora, right? These are platforms that you can just type in where exactly are you, describe it, okay, and then type it there. You'll get all forms of answers. And then if you are like me, who is very, very, very careful and sensitive about God, right? Out of everything that everybody has said, I will now use my spirit to select the one that speaks to me. That's what I do, right? You see, because somebody says that two heads are better than one,
Hmm.
but somebody else said it depends on the kinds of heads. If it is two bad heads, it's worse than your own bad one. But if they are two good heads, right? So you want to be sure that the advices that you are getting are quality advices from quality people. But very importantly is that with your heart, with your spirit, you select the one that is appropriate to you. So that's all about the principle of copy and paste. You look for somebody that has done it before, and then you copy the principles. You don't copy their lifestyle. Okay, you're not a duplicate of another person. You find out principles. What exactly were the principles that they practiced that moved them from where they used to be to where they currently are? Okay, so those are the things that's one of the things that you can do. And number two is through mentoring. Okay, mentoring. If you have good mentors, you can always get good feedback that empowers you. One of the reasons for mentoring is that a mentor has most likely been where you are not, I mean, where you want to be, that you are not yet, and is able to empower you from where you are to that place where you want to be. I remember that I wanted to do a training. It was a paid training. I was supposed to do it, and
Oh, hello. Can you hear me? Is it my network or can you still hear Olumide?
I believe everyone can still hear me.
Yes, I can hear you now. And
Yeah.
I
So
think that every other person can hear you too.
okay. So now and then it worked, right? I didn't have that wisdom by myself, but speaking to a mentor, I got clarity. Okay. So that's the second thing you can do. The third thing you can do is coaching. One of the things that coaching helps you to achieve is to unlock results from within you. Now, everybody knows what he should do. It just does not know that he knows.
Sure.
So coaching, what coaching, man? By coaching, I mean life coaching. Okay. Coaching helps you uncover those answers that are hidden in you. Okay. So that's what coaching does. Thank you. So I'm sorry, I've been holding the phone, but
Oh, okay, you
you
want
can.
to understand? You want to use a clamp?
Yeah, I just want to really understand. So, anyway, but that's what it is. Coaching is a very, very great intervention, right? That helps you to get out of the whatever what's it called, whatever stagnation you're in. Coaching is very resourceful, and if you think that I don't know if the person who asked that question is here, but if that person is here, if you reach out to me, I could be your coach. It's one of the hats that I wear. Okay, I am a professional life coach, but very, very importantly is that I'm able to help you uncover these results and help you back them. And I'll give you an example of one of the things that happened. So there's this person I worked with. She had just gotten this job with Fan Milk, and she was having issues. She was new in that job, but she was in a supervisory role, and in that role, she was supervising people that were way older than she was, and they were having problems. They wouldn't listen to her. She was helpless. She didn't know what to do. All right. But a coaching session of about 45 minutes helped her uncover the things to do, and the result was remarkable. Right. So that's the third thing that you can do. I don't want to overflow that because, again, I know that we should be running up, and I have another live call for 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I remember. I think I saw that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so the final question. This is the third and final question. How can I build a successful administrative career when I don't even have a background in administration? I think you've even covered this in the course of your conversation, but if you could just, bring out the tips so that the person can just, run with that.
Okay. Number one is you need to have this mindset that anything is possible.
Mhm.
Anything is possible. So I have a friend who studied something else in his first degree. We served together, NYC, but after service, he went back to study medicine. Very funny. It's still, I think it's just running up right now again after how many, after like 5, 6 years or so.
Even
Or maybe
Emmanuel is a good example. He studied medicine and now he's a businessman.
exactly, exactly. So anything is possible. That's the rule number one. Number two is that you need to start developing yourself in that line. So, what courses are you taking? What YouTube videos are you watching? What professional certifications are you currently doing? Okay, you've got to have something to prove, because we're still in a paper-driven environment. People want to see a paper, a document that backs up what you're saying. Okay, so even though you didn't study administration, you can go for courses, professional courses, certification programs. And I don't mean professional, I'm not talking about proficiency training. There are two different things. When you do NYSC, you do proficiency training. But when you do certification, right, you write the exam, not proficiency exam. Proficiency prepares for the real thing. Okay, so you do something to back up what you've done or what you want to do. But very, very importantly is what is called credibility. You have to build credibility for administration. And what do I mean by credibility? Begin to have results. Okay, begin to have results for administration. It could be, you may have to start from volunteering. What organization can you do their admin for them? And you see, it's a little more easy today because you don't have to be there physically. All you need to do is do the systems and structures, run it remotely. Okay, so you want to begin to build credibility. You want to begin to have results. Start volunteering. You know, there was a year in my life, a couple of years ago, I just had this thing boiling in me that I can help people make money in their company now. I can help people increase their revenue. And then, I said to my dad that year, I said, sir, do you have friends who have businesses that I can just consult for to help them move their revenue from where it is to maybe ×2 or ×3? I was that hungry for that level of results because I just knew that I had this competence, I had this capacity, but nobody will believe or agree that you have this capacity when you don't have results.
Yeah.
A friend of mine would say that results cancels insults. When you have results, insults will be cancelled. Right? Nobody disproves results.
Sure.
If you have in your CV that you work for this organization either as a volunteer, as an intern, or as a staff, earning less than what you think you would have, then have achievements, have credibility, build credibility, be able to say that in 6 months I was able to achieve A, B, C, D, E. And with that, you're on your track, you're on the right track. All that you need to do is embellish it with some certificates here and there, some certificates here and there, some certificates here and there. And then make it open. Let people know that that's what you want to do, and that's what you are doing. And do it for as many people as you can.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Olumide. And that comes to the end of our Q&A session. If you have any question, you could just drop it on the chat in within 1 minute. If you have any question, please drop it on the chat, or we can, end the Q&A session. Any question? I'm checking. Okay, so I will assume that there are no questions from the audience. All right, thank you so much, Olumide, for making it down today. Thank you so much for your time. I know you had to, create time out of a busy schedule. Around that 4 p.m., I still called you. I told me how your schedule was like today, really tight. I just want to say thank you for doing this with me. And I know people have learned a whole lot. And we're still going to upload these videos on platforms so that more people can, grow and be a better version of themselves in their different career fields that they are in. Thank you once again. And it was nice having you. All right. So we're going to upload this video online on YouTube, and we're going to be posting the link on our group WhatsApp, so you can do well to share with your friends, share with your loved ones, so they can always come back to check those videos. And you can follow us on our YouTube channel. Yes, we have a YouTube channel. Please follow us on our YouTube channel and share the good news about Career Guild. It was nice having all of you on board today, and thank you for listening. So I don't think there are any questions, so we can call it a day. Thank you so much.